PXG has done it again with the launch of a new lineup of drivers, fairways, hybrids, and irons. The new Gen 5 golf clubs deliver significantly increased MOI, faster ball speeds, longer distances, and tighter dispersions, all coupled with the exceptional feel and sound golfers have come to expect from PXG. Schedule your custom fitting or buy online at pxg.com.
And we're back, Stripe Show Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day. The studio is lit up in all red today. You'd think it'd be green. Waste Management Phoenix Open. That's what that's all about, staying green. But in the studio today, it's red, which it can be from time to time because, of course, I live in Northeast Florida, and there's all kinds of Georgia Bulldog fans down here. And joining me here today on the podcast is, just the latest Georgia Bulldog making the jump, playing professional golf, and that's Davis Thompson. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing good. How are you, Travis?
Man, I'm good. There's a million of you out there. I mean, my goodness. And now here comes young Davis Thompson graduating from Georgia 2021, gets the Korn Ferry Tour win in 2022, and now damn near gets a win already on the PGA Tour, finishing second at the American Express. Are those former Bulldogs, kids and those boys, they come up and give you a hug and support you?
Yeah, it's a great fraternity out there. Having all those Bulldogs out there, it's great. When I finished at Amex, Keith Mitchell was through like the grandstand on 18 green, just congratulating me. It's just little things like that. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, Keith Mitchell's a good dude, and he's a great driver of the golf ball. Like that's his strength, and your strength, which we'll talk about later on, is driving the golf ball. I met you back in Vegas last year. We did the cut, which aired on the Golf Channel, and I think I told you at the time. I said, Davis, if they kept the total driving stat on the Korn Ferry Tour, I would bet you were number one the year you played. But they don't. But I think you are.
No, they don't. But it was a good year, and thankfully, I think it's kind of transitioned a little bit into the PGA Tour. So we're just trying to keep those stats up.
Hey, man, long and straight. I don't care what tour you're playing. That travels when it comes to modern golf. We'll get to that here in a second. But it's Waste Management Phoenix Week, coming off a great finish at Amex. Where you finished second to John Rahm. You get the word that you get the sponsor's invite this week at Phoenix. Do you have any idea what you're getting yourself into this week?
No, I do not. Honestly, I mean, you watch it on TV and you think, man, that's crazy. But, to really experience it firsthand and be inside the ropes and play next week, it's going to be something special. So I'm very excited. You're
a mild-mannered Georgia guy. Well, actually Alabama guy, because you're from Auburn. But Alabama, Georgia, there's not too many things that kind of get you rattled up under your skin, is there? I mean, what would somebody have to say to you on 16 for you to turn around and be like, all right, man, that's enough?
Probably Roll Tide. Yeah. I'd probably get the juices flowing, that's for sure. But no, I mean, somebody said that to me at Amex a couple weeks ago. I was like, man, that's all right. I guess Alabama fans are all over. So
honestly, that gets your blood going just a little bit. Roll Tide.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no need for that.
Well, there's no need. I mean, from a kid that's from Auburn and went to school at Georgia, like Roll Tide in any of those capacities on that line across state lines that's the one thing you all agree on, right? You don't.
Yeah. We may not like each other, but we both don't like Alabama. So that's a commonality there.
So from Auburn, you went to high school in Auburn, but you go to Georgia. But your dad, Todd, right, was an excellent player who played for Georgia. So you followed his footsteps to be a Bulldog.
Yes, that's correct. I was born in Atlanta, then we moved to Auburn when I was real young. Grew up in Auburn, loved it. Loved growing up in a college town. My mom went to Auburn, so it was kind of a house divided situation, but it was it was great. I got the opportunity to go to Georgia, and I took it and had a great 4 years there.
Kirby Smart comes over, and just like that, this program goes to elite level. I can, my wife's from Atlanta. Their family, they're all Bulldogs. A lot of my really good friends here are Bulldogs. There's a podcast that's called Two Average Gyms that's done out of this studio every week. It's a Georgia football podcast. So I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm kind of brainwashed, right? I've been watching this for a long time, and forever. Like, it was like, man, all of this talent, I mean, the Matthew Stafford days, Doshan Marino, AJ Green, and these guys they're not getting it done to the finish line, right? And you watch these guys, and the one thing about Georgia Bulldog football players, I mean, like a lot of these SECs, but just seems like the Bulldogs, just like in golf, in football, when they go to the NFL, like, it transfers. I mean, these guys are stars in the NFL too.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, what's missing? Like, something's missing. They just can't quite, like, get over there. Well, here comes Kirby. And I think that's what was missing. I mean, he's a wonderful recruiter, but my God, he can coach, the X's and O's. And when you get elite talent like that, and they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's, like you saw in that national championship game, that's what you get. I mean, I look like a professional football team out there. What did it look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, they were executing at a high level. And I mean, I think, Kirby's done a great job with obviously getting the players to buy in, but having the coaching staff be locked in on the same goal. And, obviously the standard is now for Georgia fans and Georgia football. It's national championships, which is a fun time to be in, because like you said, for a while it was, good years, but couldn't quite get over the hump. And then, having back-to-back national championships is pretty cool, because, I mean, growing up, like I said earlier, I mean, it was just kind of like year in and year out, you feel like, man, we can do it because we have talent. But, it's been cool to kind of see them be so successful and to cheer them on.
It transfers the players to the NFL. It transfers in college golf too. You look at this list: Harris English, he's done all right. Brian Harmon, he's done all right. Russell Henley, he's done all right. Chris Kirk, I love Chris Kirk, by the way. He's done all right. Kevin Kisner, Keith Mitchell, Grayson Sigg, Sepp Straka, great year last year. Brendan Todd, he's won a couple times. Well, we'll mention Hudson Swafford too. That's all right. I mean, he's on live, but he's a Georgia guy. He's still a good dude. I mean, these guys are winning, on the PGA Tour, and these guys have been out there a while too. Some of these guys. So, and now here comes Davis Thompson as the next guy. All right, let's have some fun. I'm going to put your swing up here. If I had to copy a driver swings, there's a lot I like about this, but when you look at this swing, and I know you've learned some from people over the years, but when you watch this driver swing, is there anything that kind of comes to mind, like some of the things that you've worked on, some of the keys that you would rely on that really help you hit this club as well as you do?
I would say just getting a good load, turning back into my my back right heel. I feel like
is that happening? Like, watch right here. Right, it almost looks like it happens before you take it back, like before you even start.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trigger for me. It's kind of just like a slight shift, I would say. It's obviously not major, but when I do that slight forward press, you can kind of see my hips go back a touch. And I'm kind of already into my turn a little bit.
Love it.
Sometimes,
I love it.
Yeah, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I mean, if I turn too early, I get stuck underneath, but if I do it just right, the club stays on plane pretty well.
Yeah, watch here, folks. For those that are watching, right before he takes it back, watch his lower body. It's going to kind of move right there. See that? That reminds me of Henrik Stenson.
Yeah.
he did the same thing. Like the pelvis would move lateral almost towards the right heel. Now you said load. Where do you
Mhm.
feel it loading? What is loading? Is it the weight? Is it a glute? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of feel like I'm posting up on my right leg on my
Mm-hmm.
takeaway. Um, and then all the power just kind of shifts to my left leg on on the follow through. So just trying to have a stable right leg on the backswing and stable left leg on the follow through.
I had no idea you were going to say that because that was the first thing that was in my notes. And when I was watching you in Vegas, is I just love that move to the right, turn up
Hmm.
on top that right leg, and then from there it's going to go back to the left, and then from there
Yeah,
you can just turn and hit it. There's a lot that comes from that. It gives a player time on the way down, right? They get to the right, then they can go to the left, and you have more time to get the club face around and do all those things. The other thing, when you look from this view, um, like you can see the high hands. Watch this. Like the hands get above the right shoulder.
yeah.
Is that something you've always done pretty naturally, or is that something you've had to work on?
It's been pretty natural. If you watch my dad swing, it's kind of the same.
Okay.
I think I kind of inherently got it from him, but that's always kind of been natural for me. And my swing coach and I, Eric, he loves the fact that my hands are high, just because
Absolutely.
again, it kind of prevents me from getting stuck underneath on my follow through. Um, but yeah, I mean, ever since growing up, my hands have always kind of been a little tall.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy position right there. Like
Yeah.
you're loaded, full turn, high hands, and like that's what you see with a lot of the greats right there at the
Mhm.
top of the swing. And I think these are the components that start to kind of make up. All right, now from there, you'll see the club. You'll see, watch here. I'll slow it down here. You'll see the club shallow out. And then from there, you just turn and hit it. Is the downswing super instinctive for you? Like, do you feel like when you're cruising well, do you feel like, man, I'm just in a great position at the top, just get out of my way?
Yeah, pretty much. I think my takeaway sets up my position at the top.
Mm-hmm.
If I have that club outside my hands on my takeaway, then I really don't even worry about where the club is at the top. But yeah, on my follow through, for me is having everything synced up and moving in the right direction. If I miss balls out to the right, it's uh it's usually due to the fact that my arms are running kind of out towards the right as opposed to running down the line, and my it's just not following my hips. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I usually get a good hip turn in my follow through, but sometimes my arms are a little slower than my hips, so kind of my arms just kind of run out to the right, and they're not in sync with my hips.
So this club head outside the hands. Okay, so we're talking like right here. I was a little late, but it's halfway back.
Yes.
Halfway back, club head's a little outside of the hands.
Hmm.
You don't want that club head to dip inside, get
Hmm.
underneath those hands right there. That first move.
Yeah, that's a great spot right there.
Yeah. See, that's something that we talk about a lot is, you just don't see many get the club head underneath. And I think when you're looking at a powerful turn like you, getting that width and the club head out is so key because it does, like to your point, just kind of set the stage at the top and then you just let it go. The other thing that just kind of strikes me with you, Davis, is that you have great balance. Is that accurate? Like, do you feel like just in general, like just go back to your high school days, you were a good basketball player. Like,
Hmm.
do you feel like you've always had like good balance as well? Because you never strike me as one. It's almost like little Rory-esque to the finish and the way everything kind of collects itself, and you're just like just blended in perfectly with the ground.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've tried to do for a while now. Is just have great posture and a great follow through. Because I mean, if you stick your follow through, it kind of, I don't know, being off balance in the follow through just is
Yeah.
just It just doesn't look right. And
I mean,
it's
tell me this doesn't like. It's okay. I'm gonna boast for you here a little bit. Like, tell me that's not a little Rory right there. Tell me that's not, or just a little bit. Like, you ever thought about that?
you're comparing me to Rory. I mean,
You
that's
thought
pretty
you ever thought about that? You ever thought about that finish? Like, you kind of look like Rory right there, just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, growing up, I mean, right when I was getting very serious about golf, I mean, he was winning majors, and he was number one in the world. So he was, you know, the guy that I was trying to model my game after growing
Is
up.
so that's a swing. When you were younger, you would watch is Rory.
Yeah, for sure.
Any others, or is that like number one?
I mean, I've heard my swing has been compared to Davis Love a little bit just because my hands get pretty high.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Obviously, his career speaks for itself. So,
Yeah, he did all right.
you guys grow up and seeing Davis be so, and obviously Rory too, but Davis being so consistent through the years, and how many years he's been out on tour and being successful on tour is pretty impressive.
It is a little Davis Love / Rory finish. You know, like it's got the high hands. Like Rory's probably a little deeper, right, around him at the top. He's like wide. He's probably wider and more around.
Yeah, I feel like Rory's got a much like wider shoulder turn.
Right. So he's like wider and then around deeper, where you're kind of higher, but then it has that balance kind of Rory finish. That's not a bad blend.
No,
that's those two could hit the driver pretty good. I love watching great drivers of the ball. You know, it's just there's not many, you know. I mean, like to be a really just a fabulous driver, you know, someone who hits it long like you do, 312 yards. But accurate, like you're not wild. I mean, you guys are more optimistic because you're hitting it further.
Yeah.
But you keep it in front of you. I think strokes gained off the tee right now, you're 21st. So that's a strength. Your iron game's been good. I want to take you back to the Amex when you were leading the first 3 rounds. You were the leader. Did you sleep as a rookie? Come on now. You're leading a PGA Tour event. John Rahm breathing down your neck. Did you sleep at all Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, I actually did. I didn't sleep Sunday night after we finished.
All right.
I think just because of like the adrenaline and, you know, thinking about everything that happened. But, you know, I actually did sleep well that week. I'm trying to think. I mean, you know, I've had leads before, so it wasn't like new territory. I mean, I guess it is new because it's the PGA Tour as opposed to the Corn Ferry or amateur golf. But, you know, Thursday, it was just kind of like, okay, I'm in the lead, whatever. Like, still got 3 days to go. But, you know, probably Saturday night, you know, your mind starts to race a little bit. But I tried my best to just go out and play well.
Are you a chatter? Do you, when you play, like with your fellow competitors? I mean, would you rather just be like, "Hey, man, quit talking to me. I just want to play golf"?
I don't talk much on the golf course. I think that's just my personality. I mean, it's not like I have anything against people. It's just my personality. But, you know, I was playing with JT Poston, who lives down here in St. Simons with me as well. And, you know, we've played golf together before. So that was very comfortable for me to talk to him and his caddy because I know him as well.
Fleener, he's the best, right? Those guys are.
Yeah, he's great.
And, they're both great. I know them very well, and I could see where you guys would really would gel, and that you play with Rahm the last day, right? You look back, right, and John obviously established U.S. Open winner. I mean, he's on a tear right now, number 2 player in the world behind Rory. You look back at that experience, walking the fairways with him. Like, as you reflect back, what'd you learn about yourself?
I learned that you got to believe in yourself. If you show up to, you know, the final round on Sunday and you're in the last group and, you know, you're very nervous and you don't really know like what to expect. And, you're just kind of playing timid. Like it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
You got to believe in yourself. And, I just kept telling myself, like I'm here for a reason. Like I'm playing well, like, just keep doing what you're doing. And, I played solid on Sunday. I let a few par fives get away from me, but, I was just proud of myself the way that I didn't back down. And,
Mm-hmm.
if yeah, I mean, it's just one shot. I mean, it's golf, and
right.
and it happens. So it was.
Well, you shot 69. You shot
because,
69 the final day. It wasn't like, I mean, you had to feel like when you walked out of there, like, okay, I battled, right? I mean, you battled down the stretch to the end, and Rom got you by one. You had, you had to kind of just feel like tip the cap maybe there, and just like, man, I did a lot of good here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah.
If Wednesday afternoon you'd told me I shot 26 under, and I didn't have to tee it up, I mean, I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
Wow.
But
5 eagles.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, just like I felt like I played good enough to win, but these guys are good, and it's just so happened that the second or third ranked player in the world got me by one that week. But it's great motivation to get back to that position.
So 8 tournaments you've played your rookie season, 2 top 10s. You had the 9th at the Fortinet, 2nd at Amex. Have you reflected on, okay, here I've got my game. I almost won a tournament already, right? Like in your mind, you're thinking, I've got all this. Here's my game, and I've already won one. So right now, like your game is in position to where you could right now. It's good enough to win a tournament. Like if you lose by one shot on the PGA Tour, I feel like your game right now currently is capable of winning a PGA Tour event, right? If something it's just one shot has to fall your way, right? So you have to feel very good about that. But then do you look at it from the other side where, you know what, I realize maybe I need to get a little better in this area? Do you think that way? Like, gosh, I think maybe I need to get better at this shot based upon what I've learned thus far in 8 events.
Yeah. I mean, I think something I really focused on in the off season in December was my wedge game, getting better from 50 to 125 yards. And I've seen, some dividends paid off early this season. So I'm just trying to be consistent with working on that. Honestly, just working hard on my short game. I mean, obviously, I think my driving stats are the best. If you take all of my stats and take out the driving stats, those are the best. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fine line between the guys that are top 10 in the world and the guys that are, 11 through 100. It's just how consistent those guys are day in and day out. And, the tournaments that I've played, some of them, like, I think I've had 3 top 15s, but at the same time, 3 others have been, bottom of the pack after I made the cut. So it's just a fine line between, just being a little more consistent and saving a shot here and there with your wedges.
When every year going into the podcast every year, I always like to try to get out ahead of players, like of the next kind of group of young players coming in. And we've done a pretty good job over the years. Like I felt Sam Burns' game would transfer to the tour, and it has. Like I was a big fan of Mito Pereira. I think he was close to winning. And this year I was like, okay, I felt like I was obviously big on Taylor Montgomery and the way he can drive it and putt it. And then Thomas Dietrich was probably the third. And those were kind of my 3 guys. And the reason is like, there's always got to be something there that a player's great at. Like you think of Harris English, he's a great putter. I mean, he doesn't get enough credit for how great of a putter he is. Brian Harmon's a great short game player. Yep. Russell Henley's a great iron player. Like you got to be great at something, right? Like it's got to be like the identity. You're a great driver of the ball. And all right, you might have some bad weeks here and there. Like we all have bad weeks. But for the most part, like you're going to be able to rely on, okay, I'm going to hit it 312 and it's going to be pretty much in front of me.
Yeah.
So now it's like the rest of the game, right? You're a good iron player. But like to your point, it's like you can, okay, I need to be a little better here. If I can get a little better there, and now strokes gained with my wedge play around the green becomes now I'm, instead of 150th, I'm 74th. Like that's monumental, right?
Yeah.
And then you layer in good putting weeks on top of that, and it's like, man, you're living on the first page of the leaderboard. So it's that's what's exciting to me about your game is just you have just a terrific strength, which in today's game, and I think in the modern era, it's going to go a long ways. All right, let's finish up with this. I know you got to get ready for the Waste Management Phoenix. So do me a favor. I'm drawing a blank. Hold on a minute. So you got a Jordan Davis jersey, right? He's playing. He plays for the Eagles, former Bulldog. That's the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen him. I saw him around campus a few times, and he is the biggest human I've ever seen.
And he's like a teddy bear, right? I mean, he's like the nicest guy in the world.
Super nice guy, very outgoing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to block him, though.
So we got on the field senior night, his senior game. We were up there in Athens, and we were walking to her, and he was standing there. And I remember I just walked up. I was just like, man, that is a big person. I mean, just giant, right?
Yeah.
And then they were showing, some people were talking about him, and like just everybody was like how great of a person he is. And then that video of him, orchestrating the band, I thought was fantastic, and his personality. It's cool. Athens is a great spot. I mean, look, SEC football is great, but Athens, I would say Athens and Auburn are probably my two favorite.
Yeah, I love growing up in Auburn, and I mean, when I visited Athens, it just felt like a second home to me, and I fell in love with it, and had an awesome 4 years there.
I want to finish with this. So you played at Georgia. You were a good high school player as well. You were the #1 amateur a couple different times, if I can recall. So you've had a lot of success with junior golf, amateur golf. I have a lot of parents who listen to the podcast, have kids. I have 2 young kids. You want your kids, for the most part, I think we probably share the, hey, we'd love for them to fall in love with the game of golf, right? It's a game of a lifetime, and you learn at a young age, and like you did from your dad, playing other sports, basketball like you did. I think you won a state championship in Alabama when you were in high school. You look back and how your parents and your friends and your family kind of managed your journey and your love for golf. What kind of advice would you pass along perhaps to us parents that, wow, this was really meaningful to me, you, Davis, as a young junior golfer in your pursuit of the game, falling in love with the game and wanting to continue it?
Yeah, I think playing basketball was great for me. It helped me play golf from late February to September, and then we would have off-season basketball workouts, and I would play basketball from October until early February. And I think that helped me get a break from golf and not get burned out. And I mean, I'm a big fan of kids playing multiple sports growing up. And but you said I've had success at the junior and amateur level, and now a little bit in the professional level. But it's never easy. You gotta work at it, and you gotta get better. And if things don't go your way your freshman year of college or your first year being a professional golfer, like you can't just give up. You got to keep going, and you got to keep fighting. For me in college golf, it took me a while to get comfortable. My freshman year was not great, nor was my fall semester my sophomore year, but I kind of got it figured out towards the end of my sophomore year, and ended up playing really well my junior and senior year. But in this world, it's instant gratification all over. But in the real world, it doesn't really work like that. And if it does, that's great. But to those that have success early, like, how are you going to keep getting better and keep motivating yourself to get better? I think my parents just did a great job with me and just having a lot of patience and just telling me, to trust the Lord's plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another thing is, I don't, I play golf. I play golf for him, for God, and he's given me the gifts and talents, and I've just been super blessed to play this sport now for a living.
There's a lot there, I think, to unpack. And I think that the biggest thing with golf too is that the highs and lows of the game.
Mm,
And sometimes I think you said, like, you get in there and it may not happen right away. And then sometimes you get in there and it does happen right away. But either way, like, you just have to roll with it, you know, and
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of take it for what it is and learn from it. And like you said, keep believing in yourself, keep working hard, and things will transpire. There's early bloomers, there's late bloomers. And you've kind of had them both. Like in college, you maybe were more late.
hmm,
Now in pro, maybe a little more early. So you can have perspective on both, but understand that I just don't take any of it for granted, but just kind of keep working hard and keep flowing, right? Because and just let the chips fall where they might. And that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of this game. And I don't think it's any different for anybody else either, because it's a challenging sport. It's very competitive, and it's cool to see the success that you're having. And I think a bright future ahead, because I would imagine you can't see yourself doing anything else, right? I mean, this is Davis Thompson right here playing pro golf, long career, just like Davis Love the third.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the goal.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good luck in Phoenix.
Thank you. I appreciate it.